Shut up and sit down.
Good day today. This is Cliff Taylor, and today we're going to poke the bear. And our bear today is Ruth Bader Ginsburg. But this isn't a negative thing about Ruth. This isn't a let's get Ruth mad, let's get Ruth supporters mad. This is a tribute, my tribute to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I think that Ruth Bader Ginsburg actually was an amazing person. I think that she did amazing things. She was on the bench for 27 years. It's a long time. And she was very outspoken in many court cases that didn't go her way, and I agree with her on some of them. It's really amazing. But I just want to say she died at 87 years of age. That's old. Well, that's older. I mean, that's old. I mean, 87's old. I mean, I've got 40 more years and I'll die, and I'll have lived as long as Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She did a lot in her life. She had goals, she set her goals, and she completed her goals. Some things that I love about, of course, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, some of the anecdotes and stuff that I've picked up after reading. I read Notorious RBG years ago. It came out in like 2014 or 2015. I don't remember exactly, but it's been 5 years. It's been 4 or 5 years since I read it. But things that I remember about her that stuck out from her life and the retelling of this book. It talked about how she was an avid reader, and she loved Nancy Drew books. She said something about being adventurous, and if you can't think of yourself as being adventurous, and it's not something that you want to be in, and that you should always try to be adventurous in your life. And also, she mentioned something about not being submissive in your relationships or something like that with your chosen. I thought she probably said boyfriend, but I don't remember. I also thought it was really interesting. It's another interesting fact about her life that I thought was really cool is when she became a lawyer, she didn't have any issues about suing people that she worked for. She actually, while a law professor at Rutgers, she helped fellow female professors file a federal class action pay discrimination suit against the university, and they won. As the first tenured female law professor at Columbia Law, she also filed a class action lawsuit on behalf of the female faculty and staff who argued they didn't receive pregnancy coverage, and also got lower pension benefits and pay. So she fought for equality, and she won again. They call her the Notorious RBG. Of course, that's off of Biggie Smalls' Notorious B.I.G. There's a great meme with her and the Biggie crown and stuff. She actually before she was on the Supreme Court, she argued in front of the Supreme Court. Landmark decision back in 1973, Frontenero versus Richardson, which a female Air Force lieutenant was trying to claim benefits for her husband who wasn't in the military, and found that it was unfairly more difficult for her to get her husband benefits than it was for male comrades or male counterparts to get benefits for their wives. Ginsburg actually stunned all the 9 justices into silence. She was quoted saying, "I ask no favor of my sex. All I ask of our brethren is that they take their feet off of our necks." And the court ruled in her favor. It was a unanimous decision. There was no... her first time she was ever argued in front of the court, she won. And all the justices agreed with her, which is amazing. She didn't like the title of Mrs. She preferred to be Miss, so she's always been Miss. She never wanted to be called Mrs., which was a a distinction of, yes, I took my husband's name, but I am still my own person, and I don't need the strength of my husband for my own vindication, I guess is a good word for that. See what else. Let's see. When she was appointed to the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals in 1980, she had this big party thrown by Columbia law students and her fellow faculty. And during the party, she sat on the floor and just laughing about getting this position, eating Kentucky Fried Chicken out of a bucket. There's like pictures of her doing that. I couldn't find any that were non-copywritten, so I didn't include them in the video. She thought of Sandra Day O'Connor, SDO, as her big sister, and during the 90s when they were both 90s and 2000s when they were both on the court for about a decade, they served together. The two of them would host a dinner and invite all the women in Congress to show up. And at the time, there were only 6 women in Congress. So if we look at how many women are in Congress now compared to then, we have come a long way. We still have a ways to go to have equality, but actually, I guess parity would be the better word. I think equality is wrong, because I think that equality means that the best person gets the job. It's not just the individual, which sex. But if we're reaching a greater parity in Congress. We're having more women, more people of color that are being represented in Congress, which I think is a good thing. She also was great friends with her fellow justices. Despite having constitutional philosophical differences with Anthony Scalia, she said of Anthony Scalia, let's see if I remember this, if you can't disagree if you can't disagree with, I'm going to get this quote wrong, so paraphrased, she said something that if you can't disagree with your colleagues about issues of law and personally still be friends, then you need to get the heck out of your job. And I think that she wasn't just talking about it in relation to the Supreme Court. It was kind of a dig at the other people in political positions in running our country, that you can disagree with somebody and still be cordial. You can disagree with somebody and still have a conversation. You can disagree with somebody and not hate them. I think, hey, you guys on the far left and on the far right need to listen to this woman, because she was notorious RGB. That was wrong. Notorious RBG. She loved the opera. She was very conscious of her physical fitness, and she actually worked out, and she, even up until the last years of her life, said that she had a routine of being physically active. I think that is probably a very good sign of why she lived to be 87 and beat cancer 4 times, but 5th time, the body ends up giving up at some point. Back when she was 82 years old, about 5 years ago, she was asked about if she would retire. And she said that I'll retire when I forget the names of cases that I could once recite off the top of my head. Off the top of my head, at the drop of a hat. So she said that she would not retire as long as she was cognitively there. And I believe that she was cognitively there all the way to the end. And that is a great testament, and her legacy is one of that should be proud of. Every American should be proud that Ruth Bader Ginsburg was an associate Supreme Court justice for 27 years. She was the second woman on the court, and she served longer than any other woman on the court. I am proud to be an American, and I am proud that Ruth Bader Ginsburg was in our Supreme Court. Okay, I think that's about all I'm going to say about her there. Actually, no, I think there's a couple other things I'd like to say. I completely agree with her about Citizens United. She said that Citizens United was the worst decision that the courts made in the past 50 years, and I completely agree. I think that the amount of corruption that Citizens United is allowing to happen in our races, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, it doesn't matter. Both sides are just absolutely insanely spending money and buying elections, and it's just crazy. I mean, what's his name? Bloomberg is going to spend $100 million on the election in the state of Florida. That's insane. He shouldn't be allowed to do that. If you can get 100 million people to give $1, okay, fine, then get 100 million people to give $1. But you do not have the right to say, I am a kingmaker. Boom. And that is what Ruth Bader Ginsburg agreed with. She said you cannot, these corporations and these ultra-rich individuals do not have the right to be kingmakers. So, all right. I disagreed with her on her stance on guns. She didn't. She said that she had said many times that the Second Amendment is an outdated an outdated. What'd she say? She said it was something about being an outdated necessity that we should remove from the Constitution. So I didn't agree with her on guns. I completely am a supporter of the Second Amendment, and I believe that if the First Amendment applies to what I'm doing right now, and the First Amendment applies to television and radio and all these things that did not exist when it was written, then the Second Amendment has to apply to technology that didn't exist at that point. And to say otherwise is to be disingenuous and to be selective in your application of liberty protected under the first 10 amendments, or we like to call them the Bill of Rights. All right, okay, so that's about it. I hope you guys have a great day. Be great to each other, and we will catch you guys later.